Good morning and welcome to the largest safari vehicle in the world. It is a wonderful misty morning. The sun is just rising over and it's this beautiful color that is being thrown over the eastern side of the reserve. Now, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I have VM the wildebeest, and this promises to be a very, very fun morning. There's lots of hope in the air with the mist around. Hopefully Tundi will still be around from last night, and so you can join us in this whole process because it is live and interactive, which means hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or YouTube chat if you want to get hold of us. Wonder if anybody maybe saw something on the dam cam last night and maybe can point us in a direction of where to go. Now, I think what we're going to do is, because it's very misty and beautiful along the drainage sections, I feel like driving around where the mist is because, well, it just creates a lot more atmosphere. So I'm going to head slowly but surely around sort of Gari Dam, Mulawati areas and see where Tundi went. She was calling last night. I actually heard her around 3-4 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around there. I heard her calling. It sounded like she was still on the northern side of Weatela camp, maybe around sort of Galago Pan area, pretty much where VM and Ralph lost her last night. So I wonder if maybe she just didn't spend the night around the camp. I haven't seen any trucks coming southwards from our camp going out of Weatela, but now I want to just check down towards Gari Dam in case she came towards Nest Cam or into the dam itself and had a little drink here before continuing south down the Mulawati. Now, from our sunrise here in Juma with the misty morning, I believe Taylor McCurdy has got her golden flowing locks waving about in the Mara sunrise.
Well, we haven't quite got a misty morning to go with yours. We've got the last little bit of the sun that I think we're going to see for quite some time. And all those beautiful golden patches on the ground, that's just the water catching the light. The hot air balloons are up in the air. And I'm sure the vultures and the birds will be up there with them soon. But it's a lovely day. Good morning, everybody. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Fergus. And we're going to be bumbling about and looking for all sorts of incredible things. However, we have a fuel crisis, so our aim is to get down towards Serena, and hopefully they're going to have some fuel for us. But what a beautiful way to start the morning. Now, I think we're actually, well, we're awake. No, we're just going to go down this way, as you can see. Come on, brakes. This is not a good place to not work. Can you imagine? Woo! Freewheeling down, right. I think what I was going to say is that I think we're beating the animals because I can just see sleeping buffalo laying about, scattered all down below us, and we'll get a closer look as we head down towards them. But I'm sure they won't be down for too much longer. It's such a beautiful morning. There's barely any wind. And it's going to be a nice, cool, pleasant day. It's not going to. I don't think it's going to be too hot. Maybe this afternoon, but I think it's going to be really, really nice. There's one thing that I really love about the Mara is that you don't have to, well, in my opinion, you don't have to pack on the layers first thing in the morning. I like to go out with as little. No, that's gonna. I'm not gonna finish that sentence because that's not what I mean. I like to go out with as little layers on as possible, and that was almost very awkward. Hey, awkward for all of us, says Ferg. So it's nice just to go with the says Ferg says he only sleeps with gloves on. Oh no, right. So nice jersey. And pretty much a scarf and you're good to go. It's just those evenings that get a bit cold when that wind starts to blow. It's absolutely miserable. Otherwise the weather is, fairly temperate out here. Not too bad. Juma's weather is a lot more extreme. It's so hot and then it's freezing cold. Although I know a lot of you laugh at us and call us sissies because we don't know what the real cold is. But we're going to keep heading down the escarpment road and to the south. Perhaps we'll have a look around the river. Maybe we'll even find that leopard again. Tristan, like he said, is bumbling about in the misty weather. Are we going to be able to see him through that thick fog?
Stop at Gari Dam just to take in the view. It really is quite pretty this morning. There's not as much water as I was hoping there would be after the rain that we've had so far this year. I was hoping that Gari Dam would be a little bit deeper, but at least there is some water, and particularly for if the elephants come along. But it is just wonderful to sit on top here, and particularly at this time of the day, it's a really good time to be stationary. So just to sit and just to listen as that sun rises on a misty morning like this often is a good time when you'll hear maybe lions or leopards or various animals actually making some sort of sound, and that can then give you a better direction as to where you want to head. So that's why we just stopped for a few minutes just to take in what's going on, also just to listen for any bird calls that there might be around, and just to check the dam itself. Often at the dam you can find little birds scuttling about on the fringes, little waders and various other things, but all is fairly quiet at this stage. There is the odd Cape turtle dove that's been calling this morning, and there was a fork-tailed drongo around, but that disappeared now as well. So they're all fairly quiet. I wonder if maybe Tandi's presence here overnight has meant that everybody's on a little bit of on alert, should I say, not of alert, on alert. Don't worry, I'll get the words right eventually. My brain will wake up at some point and everything will be okay. Now, just trying to think where she could have gone from where Wiem and Ralph had her last night. My initial thought was that she might head south, and it's why I've just kind of been skirting around the southern boundary to try and check and see if there isn't tracks this way. It seems like not. It seems as though she might have turned back onto this northern side. So I want to just go back up towards Gallagher and Gallagher Pan and just check up that side. But what is nice to see is that there are animals that she likes to hunt that are just here on my right hand side. So there's a little grouping of impalas. What is immediately noticeable about this grouping of impalas is that these are females, and you can see while she is a little bit swollen, and there most definitely is a sign that she is pregnant, she's still very far from giving birth. And normally we start to see these little lambs in November, and now we're really at the end of October, and a lot of these impalas look as though they are going to still be taking quite some time, and will probably only be giving birth around late December, January is what I think might happen. So it's going to be a really different situation to what we used to. Normally in times when gone by, and especially when we had a lot of rain, we used to see that the impalas would give birth really early in the sort of summer period. So we used to see them already around the early part of November, whereas looking at these females now, I would imagine that our lambing season is going to be slightly later and more into sort of December, January than in November, December, like it has been in years gone by. It's not to say that that's a bad thing, it's just that there's probably still this kind of recovery process from the drought where there's not as many nutrients around, and therefore these impalas are struggling to find the amount of nutrients for that fetal development, and so maybe the rut has just started a little bit later, and therefore we're having lambs a little bit later. There is this notion that female impalas hold on to their young. Obviously we know that that is not true at all. They do not hold on to their young ones. They will not keep their young inside them and wait for greener pastures to arrive. It just doesn't work like that. If any of the ladies out there who have been pregnant will know that when it's time, it's time. There's no ways that they can hold on to it. And also on top of that, they don't want a situation where they have to keep this baby inside them. They get targeted heavily at this time of the year by the predators. And so you'll find that they try and get that baby out as quick as possible so that they can then defend themselves, as well as be able to take that baby around and keep it safe outside of the womb. So it's a fallacy that they hold on to these little ones. And also, if you, at the end of the day, if you look now, there is green grass already, so even if these little ones were born, they would be able to feed off this green grass. Right, now I'm going to just move further northwards, like I said earlier, and check Gallagher Pan, make sure there is any sign of Tundi, and see if there's any tracks. And while I do that, I believe Brent Leo Smith is up and running, and he would love to say good morning to all of you.
Morning, and welcome to another absolutely marvellous day in the Masai Mara. Thank you, Tristan. Good luck at finding Tundi. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Craig, aka the Batman, on camera with me, and we are back in the area where we've been spending a lot of time over the last few days with Malaika and her two boys. Now, they killed sub-adult wildebeest not yesterday, but the day before. So when we found them yesterday morning, they were quite fat and lazy. So we're hoping they're a little bit more skinny and more active this morning. So we're just going very slowly along the crests here, using my binoculars to pan down into the valleys. And I'm hoping... Oh! We have a line of siafu. How's that, Craig? There we go. Now, siafu. A very sinister sounding name, but they are very sinister little creatures. And even though they might not look like much, an old form of traditional torture was to tie a person down in the line of safari ants. Now, you can see the bigger soldiers there. You can actually use their heads as sutures. So you get them to bite into an open wound and then clip off their head, and it works as a stitch till you can do something properly with it. But their bite is incredibly painful. Now, unlike a lot of ant species, they don't really have a home. They are wanderers. It's called safari ants, and safari, of course, means journey. And they're always on a mission. And when they do go through an area, they can absolutely wipe out all the insect and even rodent life. Now, there are quite a few different species. This is one of the smaller species of safari ants. But their bite is incredibly painful. Now, we had an invasion in camp not so long ago, and certain individuals, namely Fergus Clark, got bitten in very inappropriate places while he was sleeping by said ants. I think Rebecca's tent has been completely invaded by them before, and Steph, when Blake and Yana were here, they had to move out of their tent the one night and into the mess tent because the siafu completely took over. Fortunately, they've moved on, so that's what they do. They are journeying ants, and they'll actually carry their eggs and with them as they move through an area. Now, the reason they move is, of course, because they do absolutely wipe out all forms of life in an area where they've been for a while. So the reason they move is to find more food. Now, it's quite funny when you're watching lions or any cat for that matter, having a midday snooze and the safari ants walk in, they sort of jump and start growling and stuff at the ground, and then you normally know that the lions have found, or the safari ants have found the lions. Okay, so there's my binoculars. There they are. So we left Malaika a couple of valleys over, so I'm just going to have a quick scan with my binoculars through this valley, see if we can possibly spot her from a distance. But while we do that, apparently Taylor's got some form of creature hiding in her car.
Moved. Maurice has now decided that he's nesting and he's going to live in my hood like that. I thought then he can always look at you. Isn't that nice? And when he gives you too much, well, when he gets a bit arrogant, because we know Maurice has a tendency, he's a very big ego, we just cover it. And I was trying to figure out how to cover him with my hair. Gone. Well, not really. I suppose you can still see. Anyways, we'll just let him sit there for a little bit, have a little look at Ferg and maybe trumpet at him. Now, we are obviously still driving, clearly. So I'm Captain Obvious today. So we have those. But we're going to just stick on the main road. I got quite excited. I thought the Angama Pride was going to be around. I think it was just some vehicles just checking their usual spots again on their lugger that they like to say they're far too quickly. Normally there's lots of cars heading in that way. So that's okay. So we'll stick on the main road. We'll quickly have a scan around for the Sausage Tree Pride. They were MIA yesterday. They were apparently about, but I couldn't find them. So we'll head along the river road, maybe just check a couple of spots. Who knows, maybe we see Scar, maybe we see some lionesses down that way. I would love to go searching for the leopard, but my only problem is that if we run out of fuel down there, that is going to be scary. Hang on. Off you go. Off you go. Keep driving. Almost was run off the road there, but it's okay. We'll be fine. Luckily, we're not going particularly quickly. I'm just trying to wait for the dust to settle so that I can see. No one else. No more speed races from behind. Okay, so, that's amazing. Hang on. Just want to go a little bit further forward. The hot air balloon. Best hot... Well, it's just going across. It doesn't quite look like it's on the Maya River. It looks like it's just before, but just the silhouette of it floating so gracefully across the tops of the trees is quite spectacular. Isn't that amazing? Now, my hot air balloon experience was honestly out of this world. It was so peaceful, but then also deafening at the same time. And there they are, just... They're quite down to the ground, actually. Must be something down there. Maybe you heard of zebra that they're having a closer look at. Maybe there is a lugger filled with hippos. But you can see they're going lower and lower, and eventually they're going to have to start climbing. Otherwise that basket is going to scrape across the top of the balanites trees. And all the other trees that are growing along the forest. Isn't that amazing? Oh, there's an elephant. Hello, elephant. That's quite nice. That's beautiful. I don't think they're looking at the elephant, though. They're quite far away from it. It just happens to be on our side, just walking through the grass. Amazing. Right, the birds haven't even woken up just yet, so we'll give them a bit of chance. Maybe we'll be able to get a chorus, which will be very nice to hear. Obviously the birds chirping. However, we're going to go back across to Juma, and there is a beautiful tree silhouetted.
Many more beautiful sights than seeing the sun coming up through a misty layer and a forest of trees along the drainage line. You can see we had Galigopan, and no sign of Tundi this side at all. Lots of hyena activity though, which I'm hoping, I mean obviously hyenas spend a lot of time around the camp and we see them a lot, and we know that they give us a bit of a hard time from carrying our bins around and doing all kinds of other things, but there seems to be an unusual amount of activity. There's lots of tracks all the way around of them going in and out, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe, just maybe, somewhere in this misty morning is a Tundi sitting in a tree with a kill. Now I hope that's the case, because it will just be absolutely spectacular if we can find a leopard in a tree in mist like this. It'll just be one of those kind of dream sightings, those bucket list sightings if you want to call it that, when you see a leopard in a tree, and I've always wanted to see one when it's been misty around it and the sun is rising behind it. So hopefully we will get some luck and find them somewhere here. Michael, you're asking if the late lambing season would have any effect on the predators. Now hold on, hold that thought, Michael, just for 2 seconds. What is that? No, more hyena tracks. Sorry, I thought I had seen a leopard track there with a drag mark, but it was just more hyena tracks that were there, and it seems like maybe 1 or 2 other animals that walked around. But Michael, I don't think so, no. These predators survive when it's not the lambing season just fine, and 90% of our predators are able to cope fairly well. What it might affect is maybe younger individuals that are, you know, were struggling a little bit, and where they would have learnt a lot from trying to hunt these lambs, and they would have got a bit of a technique going. But at the moment here in this particular section, the predators that we've got are all pretty self-sufficient. I mean, Tumba has made kills already. Hosana, we know, is absolutely fine. We know that Shadow, Tundi, they're all experienced females, and so they don't really have to worry. Neither does Mvula, Tingana, all of those. So no, not really. I don't think it's too much of a stress. At the end of the day, it's not like the Impala lambs are not going to come. They will come eventually, and these predators will thrive when they do come. It's not going to kind of set them back, and that's the nice thing about being a predator, is that they just make it sort of take advantage of what they've got in front of them. And it's actually an interesting kind of topic, because at the moment we've seen the Nkuhuma pride change their behavior slightly in the last few weeks. Now we know that there's very few buffalo around at the moment, so not much of that to be able to hunt, but yet the Nkuhuma pride is growing. It's getting bigger, it's getting stronger. The youngsters that we saw last year, or the cubs that we saw last year, are now becoming big lions that need to eat a lot. And so a impala here and impala there is really not going to satisfy the Nkuhuma pride, and they almost seem as though they've now decided that giraffe is now on the menu, because they've had 3 giraffe in the last 10 days, and so it's almost as though they've kind of worked out that even though there's not buffalo, there's still large animals that they can consume, which will help them with their kind of quest to feed the little ones and feed everybody else. Now hang on a second, what tracks are these? There was tracks that were walking on the road. It's this little harder section here, so I might just go back to those tracks quickly just to double check. It's between all the hyenas that have been walking here and Tundi's smaller footprint, it might be a little bit... These look like Tundi's tracks. Yes, there we go. So it looks like, I just want to double check. Well, these leopard tracks, they look like it, eh? Yeah. Now sorry, just put the car in the wrong gear there. That's why we couldn't get around. But if you have a look just on the road next to me coming this way, or actually going away from me, there is the tracks that we are looking at, and they look very leopard-like. The only thing that looks slightly off about them is that they're slightly angled, but those back two tracks not as clear as the front two, which look a lot more leopard-like over there. So I think these are Tandi's tracks. I just want to double check a little bit further ahead of me where the substrate is not quite as loose and the edges haven't caved in as much, and maybe we can just double check and make 100% sure. Although, like I say, the way that the feet are angling just seems wrong to me, and seems yes, they are actually leopard tracks now that I can see them from the other side. Right, now I'm gonna try and find where she went. Looks like she was heading straight up towards Gallagher's shortcut. Anything there? No. So I think she might have actually cut off the road back there and gone into this thicket on my right hand side, which is not great news for us because it's really dense, it's thick, it's not easy to see much inside there, and even if we do find tracks going in there, to track inside there is not very easy at all. But we have a secret weapon today, and that's Herbie's helping us out this morning. He's on tracking team, so he's out and about, and he's ready if we find tracks to go and try and see if he can find them for us if they go off the road. So we have a little weapon in our arsenal. Should we have a little issue with these tracks and can't find them, then we're going to call in the services of Herbie. And I know a lot of you are probably wondering how Herbie's been. Herbie is doing very well. He's been up to date with all his training and has gotten a few new qualifications and has been quite active in helping out around camp, and so really looking forward to getting back into bushwalks properly so that we can get Herbie out and about, and so that you can all see his smiley face once again, because who doesn't like Herbie's smile? Becca Sue, you're asking how many leopards call Juma home. Well, it's a difficult question because at the moment we're in a bit of a transition phase, and we've got a situation where our main dominant female unfortunately went missing, and so there was a bit of a flux that was left, and now we've got some movement of certain individuals. But theoretically we have two adult females that we're seeing on a regular basis, that is Shadow and Tandi, and they both have offspring. So, well, Tandi's left hers now, so Tumba's now really on his own, but Shadow still has a dependent cub that's with her. And then we've got the young boys, so Tamba and Hosanna, that are seen here regularly on Juma. Then we have Mvula and Tingana, which are the other two regularly seen leopards just on Juma. If we start heading down towards Chitwa, then we start to see Kuchava down that side as well. And then every now and then we'll get some transient leopards around us. So coming in from the west or the north, there'll be Inchila, Tiani, Gari Dam, young female, I believe, was very close to Vuatela camp yesterday. Well, not camp, but Vuatela boundary yesterday on the Arathusa side and pushing this side. So it'll be interesting to see if she starts to come this way. But yes, there is definitely quite a few youngsters that are coming around and are on the fringes, and it's going to be interesting to see how they settle down. But for now, it's the two young boys, the two big boys in the form of Mvula and Tingana, and then the two adult females, Shadow and Tandi. So those 6 plus Shadow's cubs. Who some of you might be asking why I haven't mentioned Shungile. It's a bit of an enigma. We don't really know where Shungile is. We haven't seen her since her fight with Tandi. There has been reports of her being seen by other guides south of us, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know where she is. She seems not to be on Juma at the moment, and so I suppose we could count her, but at the end of the day, it seems as though she's been pushed out by Tandi and is possibly going to have to settle somewhere else for now until she gets a little bit stronger and older. Right, while of Tandi, let's go back to Brentley Smith, who I think has got some wildebeest bashing about the plains.
Oh, sorry about that. They are gremlins. We've just found a zebra that's got a broken ankle by the looks of things. Now, that can happen in lots of different ways. Could have fallen in a hole, could have broken crossing the Mara River. Shame, poor thing. But I think that one's not going to last too long out here with the amount of predators. Now, I've come to the area where I think Malaika is going to be. And you know what? I like being right. And fortunately, I'm right quite often. So, Craig, if you go opposite the zebra and then a little bit to the right, so about... Oh, where's my... Okay, zoom there. I think I spotted them through my binoculars. There we go. A little bit more. A little bit to the right again. There we go. They're the cheetah. There they are. See them, Craig? Okay, well, there we go. That looks like Malaika and the two boys. Now, a good pair of binoculars is absolutely essential anywhere in the bush, more so in the Mara. And in the Mara, you probably use a pair of binoculars that's a little bit more powerful than what you would say in the Kruger, because you are looking over such long distances. Well, let's head towards the cheetahs. I do love it when a good plan comes together. So, because they ate that wildebeest, and they ate that wildebeest just over here 2 days ago, they were really fat, so I didn't think they've moved too far. So 2 days ago, from the evening where we left them, they moved about 100 meters to where we found them in the morning, and they've now moved only about another 100 meters since we left them yesterday. And I'm quite chuffed. Our plan across the side of the river was Malaika and the boys, and we've managed to find them every single day we've been out here. There's quite a bit of cloud cover this morning, and there's still quite a lot of wildebeest and zebra around. So there is a chance. I'm going to see how hungry they are, whether they might hunt again this morning. Now, there is a very good chance. Now, remember, hashtag Safari Live if you have any questions for us. But while we wait for questions from you, I've got a question for you. Now, let's think. Since we're looking for cheetah, let us ask a cheetah question. Where in the world outside of Africa are there wild, indigenous, occurring cheetah? Where in the world outside of Africa are there wild, indigenous, occurring cheetah? Hashtag Safari Live. Don't cheat and use Google. Let me know if you know the answer. Morning, Becca Sue. Becca Sue are wondering, will the cheetah kill and target that adult zebra? Even with the broken leg, I think that zebra might be too much for them. There we go. There's a Tommy right ahead of us that spotted them. But it looks like they've spotted something as well. Oh, it looks like we're arriving at the perfect time. It definitely looks like they've spotted something. That Tommy has seen them. Let's get to the cheetah so we can see where they're looking. Oh, there is a herd of topi. There might be a baby topi in there. Oh, there's a Tommy closer. I think that Tommy is too wise for you lot. It's the little boys who are showing interest. Yeah, Tommy's off already. That little female Tommy saw them. She's put some distance between herself and the cheetah. You can hear and the other Tommy behind us snorting. They got the weirdest little alarm call. Here we go. Morning, chaps. And Malaika, of course. And you can see how now their bellies are concave. They have an incredibly fast metabolism. So in 2 days, that whole Sabi wildebeest has been digested. And that's why I was planning on being with them this morning. I think they might be on the hunt again. Oh, we're off. The boys are off. And Mom, hold on. Becca, we might want to prep an action broadcast. Now they're jogging. Cheetah can jog quite quickly to get closer to potential prey. Now we just want to try get ahead of where they are, so I don't think they're going to succeed, but they're going to try anyway, the little boys. The Tommies have seen them from a mile off. That was a very, 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 very open stalk. It wasn't a stalk, it was a jog towards the Tommies, who were watching saying, this can't be for real. Aren't they supposed to sneak before they run? I just want to have a quick look at the Topi herd, see if there are any babies there. Now, it is very interesting, the different animals in the Mara, even in different parts of the Mara, seem to drop their babies at a slightly different time. So, where there was just almost every single Thompson's gazelle had a baby. Whereas in this area, we don't seem to see many babies at the moment. But the females are very pregnant. Now, and that same goes for the Topi. We've seen herds of Topi with 7 or 8 or 9 babies with, and now it looks like we've got a herd here that doesn't have one yet, but the females do look a little bit pregnant. Actually, quite a lot pregnant. You do also get big bachelor groups of Topi, and I'm trying to have a look. It's a bit far for us to tell exactly now, but I think there are some females there. There is a sub-adult Topi, last year's baby. Now, they might go for that. That is sort of within their realm. But Topi are very, very fast. So we'll have to wait and see. But they're definitely hungry and on the move. Well, while we sit here with Malaika and her gorgeous sons, let's go across to Jamie, who is, I think, in the area of the Musiara Marsh.
Good morning. I haven't reached the Musiara Marsh, but I'll explain that in a little bit. My name is Jamie, and this morning Jahawi is on camera with me once again, and we are returning from our 3-day adventure around Talek and the Talek region, and we're making our way back towards home. Now home, hold on, home is behind that ridge. So that is the ridge, that's the ridge that gives the Ridge Pride its name, and on the other side of that is home on top of the escarpment, and on the other, well, between the ridge and home is the Musiara Marsh. So we haven't quite got there yet, we still have to brave double crossing. When I went through it 3 days ago, the water was over the hood of the car. I don't think it's going to be that bad though. I think it's going to have gone down considerably because there hasn't been a huge amount of rain, but there has been a little bit upstream. So I'm not sure what we're about to face, but I'm excited to face it. And of course the Ridge Pride, Armani's daughters, the Bilashaka boys, all on that side of the reserve. So that's where we're going to be heading for this morning. Spend a bit of time with them, and then we'll begin our journey home from Musiara Gate. And that takes us through the village of Mararianta, which is a lovely little place. The road is less lovely, but that's just one of those things when it rains this much. Tina, I've got no idea about the zebra and if it's had its foal yet, because of course I haven't been home since that morning. We left shortly after we did that drive around the camp, and we haven't been back that side since. So I don't know whether any of our regular joggers, Rebecca, have seen any tiny baby zebras wandering around. But if they have, it would be nice to know. No, Rebecca says no, she has not, which means probably that baby hasn't been born. Oh, sweetheart. Oh, little baby thing. Oh. Good thing I had my eye on the road because it looks like a rock. It really looks like a rock from the opposite direction. All I could see was its bottom. Where's your mommy, little one? You are so tiny. What a terrible place for you to be. Tiny, tiny, tiny little baby Tommy. Oh, sweetheart, I'm sorry. We must have given you such a fright. Baby Tommies do. They lie down. But this is a terrible place for you to be. I struggled to see you and I wasn't going fast. People fly down this road. Oh, look at it. And that is the natural instinct, is to stay when there's a threat, to stay completely still. It is capable of running, but it won't unless it absolutely has to. Where is your mum? You are very far away. I wonder how far away Mom will go. Oh, bye-bye. Oh, skip, hop. Yes, show me how very strong you are. Yes, that's better, little one. Off you go. Now go lie down over there. That is a far more sensible place, you adorable little creature. I would hate for you to be flattened on this road. Look at it. See, it's more than capable of moving. Albeit a bit erratically. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Show the predator how healthy you are. Called stotting. Don't bother to hunt me because I'm able to outrun you. I'm strong, I'm fit. Look at my long legs. Now I'm going to do a high march. Okay, sweetheart. Whew. That is a really, really silly place for you to try and camouflage yourself. So it's absolutely fine, as you can see. It was just, that was where it decided to rest, which is not the most sensible place. It's now hopping, skipping and jumping off. It'll go and lie down elsewhere and then Mom will come and call it. All right, lovely little antelope, we've been discussing babies a lot this morning. Let's go across to Taylor to see whether or not there's any babies in the herd of impala she's found.
They were being so cute. They were so funny. They didn't want to get their feet wet, so they were leaping over little puddles on the road. They were actually jumping over that you can see there. But they've all run across to go and get the green grass. There are plenty of little babies. I don't know why I said it like that. Babies. What is wrong with me? Too many things. But they're in and amongst the herds at the moment. They are very difficult to try and sort of tell the difference between an adult and a youngster when they're all in the mix like that. They grow up so quickly, but there we go. There's some small ones just bumping heads at the moment. Very playful, of course. But how sweet is it that you got to see a tiny new Thompson's gazelle? Remember we found one the other night that was just in infrared. I'd thought that it was the bat-eared fox that had disappeared down into its burrow, but it wasn't. It was also a little Thompson's gazelle. They're so precious. But the impala are a couple of months old now. They're not tiny. They're still very cute, though. They're definitely one of the most precious animals out here, especially when they're born with their very, very big ears. And I'm sure that's exactly what the Thompson's gazelle looks like at the moment, a bit out of proportion. Oh, they're so precious. And very fluffy this morning. They must have been a bit chilly, but it is going to warm up. It's not so bad out here, as I was telling you earlier. And there they are. They're just grazing, trying to not get eaten by anything. And they've got to be careful around here because there's so many lions about, and with there not being a lot of wildebeest and zebra around at the moment, lions are going to go after things like impala and the rest of the antelope species. Staring off into the distance, constantly keeping an eye out to make sure that no one is trying to creep up on them. So they seem fairly relaxed. Oh, just having a quick groom now. And grooming themselves, not really relying on Mom to, of course, waiting for Mom to groom them. They can do it on their own. Now, if you have just joined us, of course, a big good morning to all of you. And maybe this is your first time watching Safari Live. Welcome, if that's the case. And if it is, I think all the newcomers today need to send in some questions. So remember to hashtag Safari Live. Let us know if it's your first time watching. And we'd love to get to know you. And you can also talk to us on the YouTube chat. That's also a possibility. If you are watching via YouTube, you can do that. Isn't that lovely? Now, Chandler, you're wondering if this is the best time of the year to see babies in the Mara. Well, the impala dropped about a month ago. They started dropping their lambs, and there's still a couple of females that look like they're pregnant. So I think there will be one or two latecomers. The topi have started dropping their little ones too, and the Thompson's gazelle. So yes, I would say starting now is pretty good, and then the wildebeest will, but that mainly happens in the Serengeti. They should also start giving birth. What are we in now? Still October, maybe in a few months' time. Although I've seen some heavily pregnant female wildebeest. So, like with everything, some give birth a little bit earlier and some give birth late, but the bulk of them have a typical season. They drop their calves all year round. Zebra, also around about this time, although I've also seen zebra foals being born very, very late into the year, in the Sabi sand, being born, just before winter, which is unusual for things like that to happen. Sometimes things don't always go according to plan, I suppose. Very white, fluffy tails, though. Little nursery group there, all sticking together, playing with one another. Very cool. River now, and that means that Serena is just around. Tristan has got a beautiful raptor in a tree.
Pale morph Wahlberg's eagle that is sitting and absorbing some of the sunshine. The poor bird has been puffed up, and all kind of feathers have been in all directions, trying to trap warmth against the body and just trying to probably get a little bit drier as well. With this misty weather, there will have been a lot of water vapor that would have settled on those wings, and so fluffing up like that just aids in able to dry out and being able to then fly around and look for food. And really is one of my favorite birds, these pale morph Wahlbergs. I don't know why. I mean, the dark form Wahlbergs is just as cool, but it seems to, I don't know, the white just adds a little bit of value to me. I don't know if it's just because it's a rarer form, although we see two of them here. We have two different pale forms that we get in this area. Now, this is the pale form closer towards Twin Dams. Not Twin Dams, to Gari Dam. We're just on the southern side of Gari Dam. And I've been watching this nest quite closely because I want I've been wondering what's been going on. There's the nest over there in the tree, and so right in the center of that tree is where the nest is. Now, there doesn't seem to be any sign of a chick or anything like that inside there. Been looking carefully just to see if maybe these guys have been nesting and have actually laid eggs or have hatched eggs already, but it doesn't seem like it. And so I've been kind of watching this with interest and just to see who we see here, but in the last few times I've come past, it's either just this pale form or a dark form Wahlberg. So I think the pair is back is the way we thought it would be, which is dark form and light form here, and a dark form and a light form further south towards Twin Dams area as well. And Ralph had that incredible sighting yesterday of this pale form Wahlberg, well, not this particular one, but another pale form Wahlberg's eagle hunting a baby scrub hare. It was really quite something to see. It was a very, very cool sighting, and it certainly looked epic to watch, and VM did a fantastic job to film them. I think our Wahlbergs, though, is not going to be nearly as active as the one yesterday afternoon, given that it's still cooler. These guys wait for the sun to get a little bit higher, and once it's a little bit warmer, then you'll find them coming down and using thermals to spot various creatures that they can hunt. Although what was really interesting to me yesterday was that bird basically hunted from the trees. It didn't actually fly in and try and grab that little baby scrub hare. It was kind of hopping from tree branch to tree branch on its way down, trying to get, and then eventually down into the grass where it chased this little baby scrub hare under the vehicle, apparently. So it really was quite interesting to watch that hunting behavior. The previous hunts that I've seen of these Wahlberg's eagles, generally what they do is they come actually from quite high up, and most of the prey items that they hunt are small birds. In fact, red-billed quellias are pretty much number one in their diet, and they come from quite a height, and they then come down and try and grab these red-billed quellias, and it's amazing to watch the speed at which they come down. So it was really interesting to watch that hunt yesterday. It was completely different to the way that I've seen Wahlberg's eagles hunt in the past, and it just goes to show that we really we only see a small little slice of the life of these birds that we see here. Now, I believe earlier we were talking about, well, we're talking about nesting of birds and various other things, and I know Taylor and the rest were chatting about times of years. Yeah, so Ginger, you want to check on the weavers of Chitwa Dam. Well, we might end up in that way. We'll see how the road takes us. Of course, Chitwa Dam is always a afternoons than what it is during the day. If you have a situation where the sun comes from the eastern side at Chitwa, the side that we can access is right into the sun, and it becomes very glary and very difficult, whereas in the afternoon the sun comes from behind us and filming at Chitwa becomes a lot easier. But we will, if there's not much else happening around, then we will certainly head in that direction, Ginger, and try and go and follow up on the weavers and see if any more nests have been added or if any have been torn down, and see what is going on. Yesterday actually I was really interested in the weaver situation, because just as we finished our segment on the weavers, I was watching the males, and it was almost like the males were trying to destroy each other's nests. So they were flying up and grabbing onto the nest of a different male, and they were actually pulling at it and trying to almost break it apart. It was really quite something to see. Now I'm going to carry on going southwards towards Twin Dams and potentially on towards Chitwa, so we can go and discuss our weavers in depth a little bit more. But while I do that, let's go back to Brent Smith, who, I must be honest, I'm a little bit jealous, is spending some time with some of the fastest spotted cats of Africa.
Well, in the distance, I've spotted some non-spotted cats and a hyena. This looks like it could get a little bit interesting. That hyena's being quite cheeky. There's two hyenas and some lions in the distance there. Just suddenly saw a patch of movement. I thought, whoa, that looks interesting. That's really, really far away. As I was talking about a bit earlier, a good pair of binoculars, essential out here in the Mara. That hyena's, just go back, that hyena's sneaking back into that line again. Wonder if they've got a kill there. It looks like a young male. I wonder if it's those 4 young males we saw a couple of days ago. Now, of course, as I said, our focus since we've been on this side of the Kruger has not been lions at all, but it's been cheetah. So here we go. Here's Malaika. She's heading towards a herd of topi at the moment. Now, the topi have seen them, but you never know. There might be a little bit of weakness or whatnot, but she looks like she's locking in on something else to the right of the topi. We do have some wildebeest in the distance. There are some Tommies between the wildebeest and her as well, but still quite far away. Oh, here come the lapwings. Noisy, 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 noisy. Ooh, November moon. Oh, wait, sorry, Craig, that was my fault. November moon and Daniel say India is the other place that has naturally occurring cheetah. Now, they used to. They are extinct in India, but there still is one country that has naturally occurring wild cheetah outside of Africa. So I'm going to let you guys think about it a little bit more. If you guys missed it, that was the question to you. What country outside of Africa has naturally occurring cheetah? Hashtag Safari Live if you know the answer. So Daniel, who's 14 years old, and November moon, India used to have naturally occurring cheetah. They went extinct, depending on where you read, but apparently the last one was seen in about 1960. I thought they went extinct even earlier than that. There might have been just one that managed to survive, but it is not the country that has naturally occurring cheetah. Now, we're going to behave like a cheetah. And what happens if you're a cheetah and you see a good termite mound? Well, of course, you must climb it. And that looks like a good termite mound to me. So since we're on a cheetah day, or a cheetah couple of days, we're going to behave like cheetah. Whoop-ah, there we go. Now we have a nice commanding view of all around us. Oh, there go the boys. They're going to have a little play, chase each other around a bit. Here we go. There goes Mom, stretching those legs. Now, this is just playing. They're not actually chasing after anything just yet. I'm just keeping an eye out on the lions across the valley, just in case they start heading this way. Oh, there we go. They've spotted some some Tommies off to the right. Still quite a long way away. Now, James is wondering which of Malaika's boys seems to be the more dominant one. James, it's quite difficult to tell at the moment. I would definitely need to spend a little bit more time with them. But at the moment, they seem to be on par. For now, of course, that it will change. Okay, we need to move again. And luckily for Malaika and the boys, I think those lions definitely have a kill somewhere on the other side of the valley, because there's about, as I looked closer with binoculars, about 15 hyenas around. So now this is very important as the cheetah are moving towards potential prey. Into them. We also don't want to disturb the potential prey. Now, I don't think these Tommies, there's quite a few of them. As I say that, I think they've just spotted the cheetah. Now, of course, what I've noticed with cheetah in the Mara, what they often... What has he seen? What has he seen? What has he seen? There's Tommy straight in front of us, but... Oh, there's a Stenbok as well. There's the young boy. He suddenly saw something. But I think the Stenbok was wise to where he was. No, Malaika's also zoned in on the Stenbok now. They're all jogging in its direction. It's lying down. Okay, I don't want to move the car because we might disturb. And fortunately for us, we're being cheetahs. We're on top of the termite mound. They're only about 50 or 60 meters away. They've lost sight of it when it lay down. Now, that's one of a Stenbok's main defenses. Bex, I think it might be time to try the action group. Okay, they are getting very, very close to that little Stenbokie now. And we did see them on the first day we were with them successfully catch a little Stenbok. Okay, I think they're getting within striking range now. And you can see the Tommies are running away from them, but they have lasered in on the Stenbok. Look at that. There's Malaika coming up to the left. But at the moment, and with the last Stenbok hunt, it was one of the young boys who led the hunt. There, Malaika's taking the lead. There she goes. Oh, Stenbokie's gone way too quickly. Oh dear, kitty cats. That was that Stenbokie was well aware. Oh no, but they're going again. The young boys are going to try, but I think that's there. You can see it flashing away in the distance. Oh dear, boys. Unlucky. Let's get a bit closer because they're going to disappear over that ridge. Hold on. Now that's the joy about being out here live with us. We literally have no idea what's going to happen from second to second. Luckily for that Stenbok, it was up before the early bird this morning, so it didn't become the worm. Now, as I was saying, as they keep moving towards some Tommies that are very conscious that they're there, what will happen is I've noticed cheetah, when they see a herd of Tommies, will go walk through that area. And the reason for that is they're looking for the babies, like you just saw with Jamie, who are hidden flat along the grass. And certain cheetah are very good at finding those little babies. Amani's 2 daughters are excellent at finding baby Thompson's gazelles. So there's method to the madness of walking straight at prey at this time of the year. Let's have a quick look around. Let's just catch up with Malaika. She's up ahead. Now, as I say, I'm always parallel to them, not behind them. Just in case something does happen, we want to be in the right spot. There are some wildebeest still up ahead, and some more Tommies that haven't seen them just yet. She's seen a male Tommy by the looks of things. Hi, Lauren. Lauren would like to know, when will the young cheetah start to hunt by themselves for the first time? Well, Lauren, they're already partaking in hunts at the moment. And we have actually seen one of the boys lead a hunt for a Steenbok a couple of days ago. But they've probably still got a few more months with Mom before they have to strike off and become their own young men. But they are still quite capable of catching and killing smaller things. I'm sure they've caught scrubhare, Steenbok. They actually did the killing of that other Steenbok. So they're already hunting at the moment. But of course, under Mom's watchful eye and tuition. And another stop, a little roll around. That must be so frustrating. And you can see there's some breakfast looking at you. But now that it's well aware you're there, it's a bit too fast for you to catch. Okay, off they go again. Dr. Rob is wondering, would they hunt an ostrich? Most definitely. I have seen cheetah kill ostrich before. This is quite an exciting hunt because ostrich are really, really fast as well. Hang on, let me just scoot ahead on the road. Just having a quick look around. As I said, there's quite a lot of Tommies still coming up and wildebeest. That is Malaika. She's spotted more. She's spotted some more Tommies up ahead that don't... they spotted her already though. Or they possibly heard the other Tommies behind snorting. And there are some wildebeest coming, a small little group. There could be a juvenile in there that is definitely within Malaika's grasp. There's the wildebeest. There's a wildebeest lying down, but it looks to be a big one. Unless it's got an injury. I think it might be a little bit too big for her. She's looking. There we go. See, there's the wildebeest that's lying down. He's getting up now. Does it look like he's injured? Difficult to say till he moves, but it looks like he spotted the cheetah. Craig, the boys are coming right next to us. Hello, Trouble 1 and Trouble 2. Hello. Naughty little chaps. You got left behind by Mom, now you're catching up. Mom, we're hungry. Malaika's in a very typical cheetah pose, scanning the plains. Just so elegant. Oh, I'm wearing my binoculars, I think. I know, she's looking away, but I think I might have... What did I see? I saw something that just caught my eye. Which is a stump. Just a stump. Quickly across the tailor.
No. That all happened very quickly, just like the sighting. We've got a lioness, who I presume is part of the Paradise Pride, and she's coming down to the water's edge, which is actually infested with crocodiles this morning. It is crazy how many big crocodilians there are. I don't know what language I'm speaking. We count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 crocodiles that are ranging between 2 and 4 meters in length. And they're all sitting there waiting. But this is a brave lioness. I have witnessed her slapping crocodiles on the tail. When sitting at the river cameras, she'll often go down and she just sort of slaps them with her paw. And then they run away or back into the water. But let's see where she's going to go. There's normally 2 of them that hang around here. I don't know where the second lioness is. And I was just telling Ferg, this is the thinnest I've ever seen this girl. Every time I have seen them, they've got huge pot bellies. Hello, beautiful. Have you been suckling cubs? No, I think I'm just imagining it. Just having a little look around, but unfortunately not a lot of prey for her. A couple of weeks ago, we had all the topi coming down, we had lots of zebra, lots of wildebeest, and it would have been very easy for her to catch something. Now it's going to be a little bit on the tricky side, but they do live around here. Oh, she's got no hair to the tip of her tail. Very cool. This is, I think, maybe one of the clearer views I had. It actually does look like she's suckling cubs. I can see suckle marks from here, which I never noticed before. I've never seen any of the lionesses around here with cubs. It's always, like I said, just the 2 of them. She's coming down. This is her favourite spot. She always walks here. This is normally where the crocodile slapping occurs, is in this spot. But I think I'd be a bit cautious because that crocodile on the bottom of your screen, well, there's 2 there, but the one closest to where we are is big. That's not small. Probably about a 3.5 meter crocodile. Could quite easily snatch her up. No problem. But she will be, should be cautious around the water. We had that amazing sighting with Karula, Hosana, and Shongile, where Karula was teaching her youngsters about the dangers of crocodiles. And look how that crocodile has turned and is now staring towards her. It almost looks like it's raised itself out the water. Be careful. Crocodiles can move very, very quickly through the water. And out on land, it's one of the most terrifying things I've seen. I often talk about how hippos cause huge wakes when they charge. A crocodile running on a sandbank and running through shallow water is not great. I think she knows the crocodile's there. She's looking at it, but she doesn't really have much time. Oh, that's not a happy croc. Almost looks like blowing bubbles and snapping at the water. So like a hippo would open its jaws and splash around to try and intimidate an opponent or a predator, that's exactly what that crocodile's doing, which I find quite funny actually, because you would think, and crocodiles being the apex predator out here, and then lions following afterwards, or she's calling. I can't hear it though. Or is she, or she just got peanut butter on her palate? No, she is. It's very gentle. She's... Ooh, but very, very subtle. Maybe she's going to call her cubs out. Maybe she's calling the other lioness. Ah, big yawn. Big teeth. Older girl, this. She's definitely been around the block. This is not her first time in this area. And I suppose that's why she's acting like that towards the crocodiles. She knows. She keeps her distance. I don't think the crocodiles in this area are particularly well fed at the moment too, after everything that they have eaten. Where are your little ones? There's perfect hiding places along the Mara River, and it's particularly this stretch. I mean, not only are there these eroded areas that will sort of form nice gullies, but look at all those rocks and all those trees, plenty of little crevices for a tiny young lion cubs to hide in. Keep out of the hot sun, but also keep nice and safe. There won't be too many things clambering around on those rocks. She's obviously had a big night. Maybe she's been trying to catch all sorts of things. Now, Anna Marie, a question from you regarding that lioness's tail and where the hair's gone. You're wondering if it got bitten off by a croc. I have absolutely no idea what's happened to her tail. It's actually a common thing to see around here. Lions with either stumpy tails, broken tails, or just the hair missing on the tip of the tail. It could have been from a crocodile. It could have been, maybe it's maybe she's born with it. You get defects, of course. Maybe it was from a fight. It could be from a number of different things, but I would think if she's living around this particular area, maybe she did have a run-in with a crocodile once before, and she was lucky. We've seen zebras escaping, but sadly shedding their tails like geckos in order to, make it out alive. Sometimes you've got to sacrifice an appendage. Very cool though. But we'll sit with this girl as she sits and scans and watches the crocodiles move through the Mara River. Jamie has also got a feline friend.
A feline friend that is a very special surprise for, I think, many of you, because it's not just one feline friend, but two of them, and the world-famous 4-kilometer boys with a Z. Note, that's very important. It's the 4-kilometer boys with a Z. It's Blackie and Lipstick. I don't know which of the two is which, because I've actually never seen these males before, but it's a really lovely surprise. I've heard them many times, and I've seen them in the distance, but this is the first time that I've actually been up close to them. So one over there, and one lying over there. And given their current position, of course, it's tricky to see exactly which one's which. But magnificent dark-maned males of the Mara, the dominant males of the Ridge Pride, or also known as the Topi Plains Pride, also known as the Double Crossing Pride. You get the idea. And so we're right sitting smack bang in the middle of Double Crossing. We've done the first crossing and we've encountered these two males enjoying something of a lazy morning. The Taylor's lioness has been up and about and particularly active, but these boys are definitely not wandering about. But there we go. Literally, you want to know where Scar is. These two boys, apparently, from what I've heard from the other guides and from chatting to other people, these two boys were actually the two males responsible for dethroning, if I can put it that way, the Musketeer Coalition of Lions. This is where it gets confusing, of which Scar is a member. So they were responsible for shifting them away from where they were dominant over the Ridge Pride. And during that whole process, the Ridge Pride split, and one of the females went off with her two young boys, who now hang out around the area that we were in with the cheetahs. Where Scar is, I do not know, but this isn't his territory. His territory is more towards Paradise Plains side, so further to the west of where we are. Quickly for you, just quickly, quick instructional, wait, hold on, let me get this, let's hope my map will work. So, if we are here, over there, that's us as the dot, Now Scar's territory is around about here. So this is the Mara River that runs down along here. I think there's a bit of a glare, so I do apologize for that. Try not to get too much reflection in there, but that is where Scar's territory is. Taylor is somewhere on this side of the river in the triangle. We've been spending a lot of time around the Talek region down here in these valleys over here. That's where the musketeers hang out. So we've gone all the way around. We've gone through the first half of double crossing, and here we are in between the two crossings of the two rivers. So this is the Ridge Pride territory. The Ridge time we've seen them before, but never with the boys. So it's really quite special to actually encounter them finally. So that's just to give you an idea of the movements of the various lions. So that's where Scar is. He's somewhere off to the west of us. And if you're wondering about my battered phone, never fear. It just has gone for a few tumbles in the car during tricky river crossings. There's a buffalo walking through. The males have looked at it. I'm not sure that there's any dramatic scenes about to unfold. I doubt it. I think that they look to me to be quite well fed. That's a big male buffalo, but two big male lions would be more than capable of taking him on if they chose to. The question is it going to be worth it for them this morning? I doubt it, but you never know. Especially if this buffalo is coming for a wallow in double crossing. Daniela, why is he called Lipstick? All lions have a black mark around their mouths, and apparently Lipstick's is quite prominent. I'm not sure if this is Lipstick or if this is Blackie. I mean, he does seem to have quite a prominent black lining around his mouth. Hello, boy. Oh, we're up. Goodness, yes, we're talking about you. You ready for your close-up now? Oh, long hard night, huh? Lots of roaring, lots of keeping those Billashaka boys at bay. Okay, while we sit with sleep.
Well, the second one actually joined. Can you believe it? Very briefly, though. Came out, I presume, from the rocks. Maybe they were just resting up. They're definitely looking for something to eat. And I've been scanning around trying to find, things that they'd maybe be interested in going for. And along the tree line, I think I'm starting to see little patches of white. So I don't know if I did see some topee, if there's maybe some Thompson's gazelle between them. There's something white. You see, there's a topee. Are those topee or those impala? Those are impala. It's so far away. Right on the other side of the river. Probably about, my goodness, 400 meters away. Very difficult. So there's some prey out there. So there's the impala. There is also the topee. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of Thompson's gazelle. Now, that's not going to be a great meal, but any meal is better than none. Out here, even if it is a snack just to keep you going. Nothing wrong with that. And the other girl, who looked much leaner than our crocodile lioness, she doesn't seem as sort of interested in the prey behind her. Now, my only concern is that if they do go hunting around here, it's not going to be great for us because we're stuck on the side of the river, and unfortunately there are a few obstructions in the form of rocks and trees, but we will try our absolute best to keep an eye out on them. Might be worth popping past here this afternoon again. Who knows? It'll be quite exciting. Where are you going? They always go in there. Often, we'll talk about the river cameras that are around here. They love to sit in there, and sometimes you get a bit better angle with them, but not always. Even though that bush, it's not actually too thick out here. It's just those trees are placed in the wrong spot for us. Now they've gone. Trying to think. We're pretty limited to where we can move. Oh, we can have a look at some birds. There's some canaries that have just hopped down onto the ground. What's quite nice is when you just sit still. They're just flown off now. When you do sit out here for long enough, It's quite pretty. All the birds come around you. There they are. You see them, they stand out like a sore thumb in that grass. Look how lovely they are. Yellow front canaries. I can hear all sorts of birds. I can definitely hear the rooster laugh. But not much, and crowned lapwings now. Not much of a chorus this morning on this section. But hopefully, the more we head down towards the forested areas, we'll get to hear some better sounds. Right, I think we might move away from these lionesses because they've now moved completely out of sight, which is not great for us. So we'll see if we can find some more. Brent has got a lovely open view of his cheetah moving across the open plains.
Well, they've decided to take a bit of a break and just perusing the plains ahead. Some noisy lapwings flying over. Well, it looks like we're on the move again. Now, we did see a wildebeest that looked like it had an injury or a broken leg up ahead, but unfortunately the cheetah didn't see it, and the wildebeest hopped over the ridge, and they're heading in the opposite direction of that three-legged wildebeest. Of course, you've got to remember that sitting in a vehicle, we are much higher than the cheetah, so we do get better views quite often. Oh, well done, Ginger. Well done indeed. You are 100% correct. The country that has naturally occurring wild cheetah outside of Africa is Iran. And very few of them, and they live in the desert there. So incredibly, well, especially adapted almost to those desert conditions. Now, it is a hard life for those desert cheetah to run. Not so hard for our lady Malaika and her two young sprogs. Now, she's heading in the general direction of Lookout Hill, where she has spent quite a bit of time in possible. Hi, Ryan. Ryan is wondering, when the boys leave Mom, will they spend time together or will they separate? They will almost certainly form a coalition, and they'll probably spend the rest of their lives together, or their living lives. Now, as you can see, she's heading towards a low-lying area. She will cross, I think, to the other side. Let me just see what is on the other side. Make sure there's no lions there. I mean, last time I looked to the other side of the valley, there was a lion. At the moment, all I can see is an ostrich. 2 ostriches. 3 ostriches. But no Tommies. Now, of course, as she gets down to the base of this lugger, there's always a chance she might disturb some boha reedbuck that are often in these low-lying areas. We lose you, but we don't want to lose the kitty cats. Let's have a quick look at those ostrich over there. Now, as a big male and 2 females. There we go. Oh, okay. We're going to keep up with Malaika and the boys. While we do that, let's send you back to the northern sector of the Maasai National Reserve with Jamie.
So in the northern section of the Masai Mara, we just went to go and investigate where the other vehicles had perched themselves to see what they were looking at, but they were looking at a hippopotamus. We're going to go and have a look back at Blackie and Lipstick, and then I think we'll probably move on and see if we can find the Ridge Pride somewhere around here. I really wanted to see how big their cubs have got, because it's been weeks since we first saw those little tiny little bundles wandering after Mum. It was such a sweet sighting. Hold on, here we go. I wonder if perhaps we shouldn't go around. Let's have a look at the other male. We might be able to get a view of his face if we look over the back of the first male. Maybe not. This might not have been my brightest idea. No, this wasn't my brightest idea. Oh no, hold on. I think we can manage it. As long as the ground doesn't cave below us. Hello, boy. Here we go. There's male number 2. I'm just going to put my handbrake up in case we go flying down into double crossing, which would be highly unpleasant. Sleepy, snoozy lions. But really lovely to actually properly become acquainted with them. As I said, this is the first time that I've seen them up close. And the male lions of the Masai Mara are magnificent. Big dark manes. They really are spectacular to behold. And Bex, just to check, because my comms have been breaking up, do I still have comms down here? There we go. Okay, cool. Cool, there we go. I've got to practice because, of course, over the sound of the engine, I can't hear Rebecca, so I turn the volume up, and then as soon as I stop, obviously she blasts through my earpiece, and all of you can hear exactly what she's saying to me. Rebecca being the capable director, so I apologize for that. I think I've turned it down sufficiently so that you don't have to have dual voices. Not that Rebecca's voice isn't lovely. Good morning to Pokemon. Now Pokemon, oh no, just as he's looked up beautifully. Hold on 1 second and then I will answer Pokemon's question because he just looked at us so nicely. Lovely opportunity for screenshots. Okay, there we go. Alright, now he's got his back to us. Pokemon, who is a new viewer, welcome Pokemon. Which Pokemon, or is it all Pokemon? You want to know, don't we feel scared or aren't we in any danger when we're parked so close to the big cats? Now, a lot of our new viewers are worried about that. It's no. Essentially no is the answer. Yes, they're wild animals, and yes, we treat them as such, which means they can be unpredictable, but they have been raised from very small with safari vehicles moving around them. They don't see us as food. There's no part of their natural instinct that has evolved to go, oh, people, lunchbox, moving lunchbox. So individual people in the vehicle. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that lions can pick up on individuals, but obviously if you start waving your arms and your legs outside of the vehicle, you are going to give them a fright, and they might growl, they might charge. No, we're not in any danger. We do treat them with respect during the day. If I were to get out and walk at these lions, they would most likely run away from me. At night, that would be an entirely different story. And we've had a few cases where curious, not hungry lions, curious lions, have come right up to the vehicle to come and investigate what we're doing and have a look at us. And that, of course, can be a dangerous situation because they're wild animals and they can be unpredictable, and if they get a fright, it might be dangerous for both us and them. But yes, we are completely 100% safe. And we're always, the chances of an animal, of a big cat actually attacking people in a vehicle is so small. There are very rare cases where it's happened, and usually for a reason beyond just the animals there and it's hungry. It's usually because it's ill or harassed or something's bugging it in some way. Quick, over to Brent.
The mom thought it was going to chase them. It's the boys there. Oh, welcome. Sorry, we didn't know we've got bad comms in this area. The boys are still trying to catch a young wildebeest. I think it's finally given up. So a female wildebeest and her calf just came careering down the hill straight at the cheetah. Malaika had an attempt, but the female wildebeest turned her horns towards Malaika and she stopped, but the young boys carried on for quite a while. That was very close. Now, where's Mom? Mom's all the way back down the bottom of the hill. To the left still. Where's she gone? Oh, I've just lost sight of her. Did she flop down now? Tired after an attempted hunt. The other boy is directly off in front of us. Here we go. I've just lost sight of Malaika. I think she might have just flopped down after that unsuccessful chase. Oh, so much excitement. Sorry about that. We're in an area where the comms can be a little bit iffy, and as we all are working on improving all these things, so we can bring you more of the Mara. Okay. We can still hear Rebecca. Omkar is wondering, is there any difference between African and Asiatic cheetah? Not really. There obviously will be a slight difference, but they'll be able to interbreed and stuff, so they are the same species. They come from the same original stock. So almost no difference. As far as I understand it, the Asiatic cheetah are a bit smaller, but that's probably more to do with the desert conditions that they live in, while the only surviving ones. There we go. I've spotted Malaika now. So, and then a little bit more to the left, there's a termite mound. There we go, zoom there. There she is. So she did pop down after the unsuccessful hunt. Her two boys are heading back towards her at the moment. Now they're probably going to rest for a little bit, but I still think they are going to continue moving. And Craig and I will be here, waiting for them to do so. Oh, morning, Sean. Sean's wondering, do cheetahs sleep as much as lions do? No, not nearly as much. And they'll be more active during the day, whereas lions will be very, very much asleep during the day. The cheetah are more active during the day, but they generally sleep less than lion and leopard, probably only around 8. Well, last night I think they probably slept through 14 hours a day or so. And it all just depends on what's happening at that moment. What are those two troubles up to? You see them? Are they climbing up on that fallen stick there? No, I thought they might jump up onto that fallen branch. Mom, they might be looking for scrub hairs. Oh, and a bit of shade. Well, we're going to try to get a little bit closer, and I'm not going to sure if our... okay, apparently we are sticking with us. We're not going to move then, just in case. We're in a bit of a bad area for signal and comms. Very good question from Lara Moore. Is